cases which might be successful in terms of raising awareness and documenting is the first case is Ali Ünal, a journalist. So he was Quran translator and religious scholar. So he was arrested without any evidence of violence or criminal activity. So what happened? The United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, they have determined that his imprisonment was arbitrary. So in this case, there were documents that he was sent to prison and that someone should react. The other case is so-called girls, the trial in Istanbul where 41 women and girls, including high school and university students, were persecuted under terrorism laws. There were no evidence that was anything in relation with this. But there was again a reaction. Meantime, European Court of Human Rights has issued recent judgments covering more than 2,400 related applications finding systematic violation of the right to a fair trial in Turkey. So what I'm trying to say is that we have to document. Unfortunately, mainstream media are not covering, so it's only focused on what is happening on the daily politics. It's not just one conflict in the world. It's not just Gaza, the war in Gaza. I just started in September Not Silent podcast, and you have no idea what these women from across the world are sharing, what is happening to them. So, and why would UN bodies react when there is not in the main story on the mainstream page of what is happening in Turkey, in China, or in other parts of the world? So as a journalist, I'm talking here. So I was brutally attacked because of the writing on extremist religious groups back home. I put my own kids in danger and my family, and I'm here living in exile because I was trying to raise awareness. Don't allow these groups, these countries to come and brainwash our kids. As I mentioned, what Turkish president is doing, and also there are so many others. So it's on our responsibility as journalists to raise our voice and press as much as we can with facts and arguments.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am really so proud of you, sir. Not because I serve as vice chair, but because the work we have been doing. And really credit goes to the staff who work day in and day out on weekends, bringing the facts, the brutalities, and the dangers to our attention so that we can put up those dangers to the United States government, which probably is the most powerful body and has been the founding milestone of United States is freedom of religion and belief. There have been some concerns lately, and USAF has been very candidly bringing those concerns. Couple of them I mentioned earlier, but one which I want to highlight is temporary protection status. US had given to several nations because of real danger, either the armed conflicts or the huge danger because of your belief, like last year November for the temporary protection status for Rohingya or Burma who lost, and so many people from Kachin and Rohingya Muslims are in huge danger. Department of Homeland Security can really reauthorize their temporary protection status and give them work ethics until their country is back in line. Just yesterday, 5 years from now, the military government basically took over the democratic government, and we need to work on that. I mentioned about the Laurenberg Spectre program, which we have been working for a long time. 15,000. You can just imagine what is happening in Iran today. You can imagine what was going on, people who were Iranians protesting, and these people, the Jews, the Christians, the Baha'is, who are not considered equal citizens there, and they are about to leave there. The program is in limbo now. And we need to make sure that even for the temporary protection status, that refugees we take, the limit is 7,500. It was 15,000, even more than before. The limit should have gone higher. And we will keep on pursuing and pressuring the government to bring this vital, important issue to the United States government at every level, the State Department, the US Congress, and the White House, that these are the people who really need help, and we need to, this is our ethical, moral, and our human duty to help them so that they are protected, their children are protected, and they are here until their conditions in their own countries are good. Thank you.
If I may, I'll first say a couple of words about what a UN Special Rapporteur can do, and that is to raise issues thematically. So last year's General Assembly report A80-205 was precisely on freedom of religion or belief of people on the move. Secondly, we can take allegation letters, and I say we, but I mean myself, part-time, unpaid, and one colleague in Geneva, and then volunteers that we heavily rely on. But we can take allegation letters, so we can intervene on behalf of victims regarding, various freedom of religion or belief matters, but also asylum and refugee matters, often in transit countries that help deport to persecution people who have escaped persecution. I mean, imagine how harrowing that is. If you haven't experienced it, let's imagine that. Let's even imagine freedom of religion or belief without any migration having ever occurred. This history of religion is that of movement, and is that of inclusivity, and that it's that of spreading the good news regardless of barriers. So we can't have religion, and we can't have freedom of religion or belief without movement. So the thematic reports, allegation letters, press releases, and when I visit countries, which has been reduced to just one a year, I always make sure there's a section on IDPs and refugees. The elephant in the room is that all countries are retreating from offering resettlement. We are making the world more dangerous. Why? Because we can trade the refugee issue for security risk. We negotiate with countries saying, as long as you keep the refugees back, you can have whatever you want, and you can violate also freedom of religion or belief in your own country and against those refugees and asylum seekers. So we are contributing to it. I'm not making political commentary, but we're facing huge barriers in this reality. What can academics do? For example, the Religious Liberty Clinic at Notre Dame helped do the background research in jurisprudence for that report and other reports, and I'm hugely grateful to them, because one person in Geneva and a part-timer can't achieve much. But with the help of all of you and the fabulous network we have of freedom of religion or belief, practitioners, faith-based actors, civil society, we do so much more by reinforcing, networking, and keeping in touch with one another.
Thank you. I'm afraid I failed at my moderator be able to have questions. So I'll just let Rachel, if you have a final comment, especially around the grassroots work of your organization.
I think because of the grassroots level, the level of awareness has tremendously increased. The support systems have improved within the communities. So the persecuted are getting more support and help. The biggest achievement, I think, is the political advocacy because of constant connection and informing the local politicians as well as in the capital. The political body is able to put continued pressure on the Indian government to address this issue about these anti-conversion laws, about the persecution as well, even though India is in a very important geopolitical space there, and also Indian workforce is very important here, but because of the continued advocacy, political advocacy, the US government is putting continued pressure on the Modi BJP government, even though they're receiving a lot of pushbacks, and but the pressure is there. So that's a very good success.
We might have time for one question, and there are a couple. So let's see. Yeah, whoever gets to the microphone first. If you can ask your question very briefly, maybe there's time for two. I apologize.
I'm the C.
Correctly pronouncing. So it's interesting that both, using religion to persecute and then running away for, religious freedom. This is paradoxical, ironic, tragical, whatever. And listening to you kind of promises hope among us. But as you said that, hashtag not useless, but, young bodies, states, documenting, all these experiences in a qualitative, ethnographic way, it's very important personal narratives. But at what point and how, when we lose kind of, our hope, these, people who are in power are not doing anything.
I think
how could we, again uplift our hopes and, do something?
Thank you. So messaging and then the hope. Yeah.